literally scared for my life here.
Yeah, so he was a guy that...
So who put in a call? His wife, ex-wife,
actually,
mistress?
He had an overdose. So, and we work with the Suffolk County Police Department, so every overdose in Suffolk County gets pushed to us if it's not criminal related. So because an OD is not criminal related, it's just you have an issue. There, it's more of a mental health thing because substance abuse deals with mental health. Now we get every OD in Suffolk County, everyone. You're talking about hundreds and thousands.
Yes.
Are coming to us now, and we go out there, and because what's cool about working with the police, you get the past history, how they overdosed, what happened, people that are involved, so you kind of understand what you're walking into. And we just made a place a phone call to them, and I set up a meeting.
So describe the scene to our listeners. So obviously put the call in. Who put the call in, do you know?
The Suffolk County Police gave us the information.
Oh, I see.
So once you had the OD, they knew you OD. So like the ambulance came, EMS came.
Yes.
They gave him Narcan. Actually, his son did. His son found him on the floor.
Okay.
It was his birthday. Actually, he said he never did heroin in about 10 years.
Oh, okay.
He said he just on his birthday.
Wait, so you guys went to see him? This is after the fact, or he just OD'd?
No, he OD'd like maybe a month ago.
This sounds like a follow-up. Like you have to go see how he's doing.
Yeah,
so
when wellness check.
So when you went to check on him, as far as you know, how many days or weeks had passed since the incident with
it was I think it was a few weeks. It was in
so a few weeks after
March,
okay.
maybe it happened.
I'm sorry, I thought he's on the floor and like you walk in and he's...
I haven't seen that yet, but I've seen people where they...
Oh, no, I don't want you to see that because that's got to be triggering.
Eventually it might happen. You might be talking to someone. Let's say I just got high and then you just knock on my door because sometimes they don't know we're coming.
Yes.
And then I'm already high and I don't know. Who knows they're going to OD? No one's doing the drug to say, well, some people do. Some people do try to take themselves out.
Right.
But there are people that are just doing it to not see life, not feel something.
Yeah.
And then I'm talking to you and I just, boom, hit the ground.
Oh, man.
Especially with fentanyl out there, there's no way to know.
Yeah. So it's interesting because a few weeks after he OD'd, now you're going in. So it's almost like...
You're having to relive all the trauma, right?
That's a part of it, but I'm thinking more now... He now has time to, air quote, rehearse for the court. So he could actually not just say, "Oh, I'm fine." Like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, happens all the time.
Right. So let's see. So you walk in. Where did you meet him?
We met at his house.
His house.
Yeah,
Okay.
he had like a condo.
So was he nice to you guys?
Yeah, he was real cool.
Okay.
Actually, like
he's trying to be buddy. Okay.
Yeah, he had his son with him, so that was just like
maybe he's just trying to get you off his back. Like, oh, he's fixed now. Let's just leave him alone. No, I mean, you tell me what. So what happened?
We walked in, me and my partner, and went up the stairs, sat down, started talking to him. He was a functioning heroin addict and cocaine addict.
Okay.
For many years.
Yes.
So that's the most challenging one because let's say I'm a functioning addict, I don't really need to change. Nothing's getting worse in my life. I've learned how to deal with my addiction, and I've learned how to still bring money in, put money on the table, feed my family, do all this stuff.
Yes.
And nothing's going wrong. So why would I change that habit?
Yeah.
That's the most challenging case in all because what do you tell them? Obviously,
tell them to listen to this podcast. It's bigger person in life. No, I'm not joking, but it's just we'll get to the core of what I just meant. All right, so so this is where it's funny. I was made a mistake. I was just gonna say he's successful. No, he's financially sound. So in his head, society taught him, and a lot of us, even me up to recently, that my paycheck dictates how successful I am. But
that's true.
If that's true, why is he doing all the drugs?
Exactly. There's something.
So he's comfortable where he is. So that is challenging. So tell me how the conversation went. Like, did you start? Your partner started?
He just started telling us about his life story. He said now he said he hasn't done it in many years, but he did.
He just OD.
Yeah, I know. Well, he hit the OD, but he said before that had been a 10-year period. And I sit there, I'm like, well, listen.
What's your experience with that? There's no way, right?
No,
you don't just.
You don't just all of a sudden be like, hey, listen, I'm clean 5-10 years. Hey, I'm feeling good. Something's going good in my life. Let me go grab some heroin. You know what I mean? That's not the first time. Maybe grab some alcohol. If I was going to do something, let's just say I drink. Some people drink even though they're clean from drugs, but so that's what I would go for. I wouldn't go right to heroin. But see, what he didn't realize is that now heroin is different than it used to be. There's fentanyl everywhere. He said he took 2 lines and then he woke up on the floor. So it's deadly and it's more lethal now. More lethal, and plus, if the body's not used to, some people can deal with fentanyl a little because they've had it in their body. Like there's a thing which is very dangerous. I forget what it's called, but it's like if I go back to cocaine when I used to use, how I used to use, it'll kill me instantly because my body's not adapted to it. Remember when I'm in my addiction hard, I was doing about $100 of coke a night if I could.
Yeah.
Now, if I went back to $100 worth of coke a night, my body's not used to that.
Because you came off it. You withdrew.
I don't have it in my system anymore. My body's just like when you first start drinking, you get drunk off half a beer, and then all of a sudden, if you're drinking for years, you could drink a 12-pack and it won't even phase you.
Yes.
And you stop drinking for a long time, you go back to the alcohol. You couldn't.
You can't just pick up where you left off.
No, you can't.
I mean, you can try, but it's gonna be.
That's the problem. People say
you're either gonna die.
When you relapse off of drugs that you've been clean for a long time, it's very dangerous. That's why people OD a lot and die, because they do the same thing they did when they were previously using.
And I'm going to say that the reason you want to pick up where you left off, because if you do a lower dose, you're not getting that same high.
Exactly.
Man.
Why would you do something like, that's not even going to phase me? It's like sleeping pills is another addiction some people use.
Yes.
You go to sleep. That's a very bad addiction that's accepted. Look at go to CVS, see how many different types of sleeping pills there are.
Yeah.
And you got Ambien, you got everything else. It's the same thing. You say you're taking over-the-counter sleeping pills and set 6 to you were taking 8 when you used to do them, and you're like, well, they don't even do nothing to me. Why would I take 8 when I go back to doing sleeping pills? I'd take 10, and then you take 10, you go deal with the sleeping pills because your body's not used to it.
Yeah,
that's what your body adapts to all this poison we put in our body, which is kind of messed up in its own self. But for this guy, we were trying to teach him what he needed really was during his time. What he needed now was he needed help with life. He needed help how to not just his finance, but like organizing things, cleaning things. He can't get around. He's broken. Now the thing I talk about that is what he did in his present moment. Let's say when he's in his 30s, 40s, affects the future. So what you do in your present moment, when you're sitting here right now at this moment in time, at 3:24 p.m. at this moment, when you're in your present moment, is going to affect your future.
Yes.
So like if I'm doing cocaine, I'm doing crack, I'm doing heroin, I'm drinking, I'm smoking cigarettes, I'm doing not working out, I'm eating junk food, I'm doing all these things. What is happening is you're telling your future self, hey, good luck dealing with me later in life.
Yes.
You're not caring about you, because what I'm doing to me right now, it's not affecting my present time. It's going to affect my future.
You're not feeling it yet.
No, I'm not feeling it. There's no consequence for it yet.
Yeah.
But in the future, it will be, just like if you were smoking crack, smoking cigarettes, chewing tobacco, doing all that. Your teeth are going to start getting messed up. Or if you have, or people who's very sad is when they have issues with bulimia. What happens with bulimia is you throw up a lot. The stomach acid messes the enamel in your teeth.
Oh.
I just learned that. I think it's a very sad thing. So people with that, I think, are the strongest people that get past that, because how do you stop food? You need to survive.
Yeah.
One of the hardest cases that people have told me is when they deal with people with bulimia, because it's so hard to have them get past it, because it starts when you're younger.
Well, it's a self-esteem. It's an image
thing.
Yeah,
exactly. You can see the most beautiful girl in the world, or
the
beautiful guy, I'll say.
Right.
For girls and guys, vice versa.
Yes.
You can look at someone on the outside like, man, they're good looking. Damn, they're hot.
But they're broken inside.
But underneath, they're like, I'm the worst. I'm so ugly, because our inner critic is our key. Is our guidance system. You let that person talk down to you all the time, you become that person. You need to change the way you think.
Yes.
The way you think will change your reality, and you will not think you're broken, and we won't latch onto these poisons that society is telling us is okay to be a part. Like alcohol, they say, is the most accepted thing, like coffee in the world. But but then why, if alcohol is so accepted, why do so many people have so many issues with alcohol? If it helps us make us better, why do we drink? To tell ourselves, hey, listen, I'm going to go to a bar and spend $1,000 to not be myself. That's crazy to me.
To escape life.
To escape life. Why am I spending money to escape life? I need to go to a bar and drink and to say, well, hey, listen, can I have a Long Island iced tea, because I don't love myself. I don't know who I am, and I don't want to know myself. I'm scared to be me. I want to show this person who I can talk to that I don't want to be myself. I'm going to show them someone I'm not.
Yeah.
It bothers me. That doesn't bother me. I understand people can drink and some people can't.
Right.
But the problem is that we don't believe in ourselves at all.
Yeah.
And then we listen to the inner critic. We create the inner critic either from ourselves, or we got it from we were domesticated when we were younger. What we need to do is go underneath the surface and ask ourselves the question, what are our conclusions in life? What do we feel about ourselves? What do we feel about people? What do we look at life? What do we perceive life as? You ask yourself those questions, and you'll get the true answers of why you're successful, why you're not successful, why you're happy, why you're not happy. The key to life is not the outer world, it's the inner world, because that's where you're at when you're by yourself. Who you are, look at who you are when no one's around. That's the person you are. Are you happy when you're by yourself, or do you have to be around people to bring out the happiness?
That's...
When you're laying in bed or you're laying by yourself, what are the thoughts going through your head? What is yourself telling yourself? Be your own best friend. If you had a best friend, would you put them down all day? Look at what your inner critic's telling you. When you are at your worst, when you're going through the struggle, listen to your inner self. What is it telling you? And that's how you perceive life. So when life is crumbling, once it's crashing, when you're going through all this stress, listen to what your mind is telling you. That is the clues. The clues are right there. It's coming to the surface because that's what's coming up. And that's how you can tell how you perceive life, and that's how you can change your way you think, and that's how you can take the action to change how you feel about yourself and about life. You can change it. Just listen to yourself. The clues are right in front of us. Don't be scared of the answers. We are here for a reason. We're all here for a reason. And that concludes our podcast today, but I will tell you this. Next week we will be talking about the present moment. Why you should stay in the present and why you should not latch onto the past. And how to get out of the past and what you can do to stay in the present moment, and why it's basically a positive if you can stay in the present moment, how the opportunity will arise, how it will show yourself, because we'll talk about it next week. But a little, what's it, like a prequel, or like I say, a little prequel to it is when you look into the past, you're basically, what the past is telling you that it's a lesson. It's not meant to be lived there. It's like when you're driving straight in a car on a highway, right? You're not looking through your rearview mirror. You're looking at the glass in the front, right? And which one's bigger? The glass in the front. The rearview mirror is small and it's little. So why would I look through that in life? Why would I look through why would I look through that? I want to look through something that has more of a future. And that's where we'll hold off. But I want to say thank you, everybody, for listening to this podcast. I do this for you guys. I do this to help others. I wish I had a podcast like this when I was getting high, because I had nobody. The way I got clean was books, and it was nothing else. I had a lot of people putting me down in life. So just know you're not alone out there. You're never alone, and you can take the action. Remember, the hardest step is the first step.
Yes, it's with anything in life.
Exactly. Yeah. So I appreciate everything. I appreciate everyone. Like, share, comment. Curse me out, I don't care. Just say something that can help you. If it's something you want someone to talk about, speak about it, because we'll talk about anything. This is for you. This is for me. This is for the world. All right, guys, you have a great one.
Well, I'm gonna go enjoy the rest of the day. The weather's nice, so I'm gonna stay now. Be thankful for today. All right, man. Take care, Brian.